So one thing that most of us love about climbing is to try really hard things. But at the same time, it's probably the same thing that we hate about climbing sometimes because it's really frustrating. So today I want to give you 4 tips how you can project hard climbs or climbs at your limit more efficiently, so it's more fun. Okay, the first tip I have for you is to actually ask a friend for a power spot when there's moves that you can't do, but you're close and they're low to the ground. So I'm gonna ask my friend Gabe to give me a power spot for this first move. Oh, thank you. That was great. Thank you so much. So one of the things that you can do is when you ask your friend for a power spot, you can actually tell them how hard the power spot should be. Sometimes when I do really difficult moves, I ask them to take 50% of my body weight up, but sometimes like what Gabe did, he noticed that I was pretty close to getting this, so he just gave me like a 10 or 20% power spot. So that was amazing. Thank you, Gabe. Okay, the next 2 tips specifically are for doing more difficult moves that are higher up the wall. So I tried this climb earlier and I already know that right in this middle, the sequence is pretty difficult for me. So I'm gonna give you 2 tips that you can use for projecting these difficult moves that are higher up the wall. The first one is, and that's actually the most common mistake that we see when people project hard things, is to not always start from the beginning. Especially this climb, the first move is pretty hard. And I know there's gonna be other moves that are really hard up there. So instead of starting at the beginning to try these harder moves up there, I'm gonna use other holds and other climbs that are way easier to get into that position where the crux is to figure it out. So that's what I'm gonna do. So my project is this orange one, but instead I'm gonna use yellow because it's way easier to get up the wall. And the goal is for me to get into this position right here, because I already know this move right here is really difficult. So what I wanna do is practice and see if I can cross. Yeah, this works really well. Okay, this is wonderful. So this is what we wanna do. We wanna use other holds to get on the wall, to practice these moves in isolation. Now I can tell you already earlier what I did is I tried the second to last move of this climb and I haven't done it yet. It's pretty hard lockout for me, or might be quite dynamic. So what I'm gonna do now is my 3rd tip, is to try to get into the final position of the hard move. So instead of trying the hard move over and over again and falling, I'm actually gonna get in the final position so I can feel what it feels like to be there and gain some confidence that I can actually hold that position, since in this particular case it's pretty high off the ground too. I'm gonna combine tip 2 with number 3. I'm gonna use this easy yellow climb to get into that position for this move from the right sloper to the left jug. So this is the move that I have a hard time with right here. I have a hard time committing to this move up here. So instead what I'm gonna do is go up here and see what it feels like when I have this. And immediately I can tell you right now, this is really hard to hold. So it tells me I probably have to commit to this move full on, but it's a jug. So maybe I can do it. I don't know yet. You'll be part of my experiment. But before I try this climb, I piece it together. Number 4, when you climb at your limit, whether or not it's gym or you climb outside, you gotta brush everything so well, especially when it's slopey. And also just when you climb at your limit, you wanna use all the friction that you can get. You know, make it easy on yourself. You're already trying so hard. So I'm gonna make sure I brush this. I'm gonna make sure I brush the slopers up here. And then I'm gonna try this climb from the beginning and see how it goes. Okay, the first move Gabe helped me with earlier, but I know what it feels like, so I can do this. Ooh. This is the move that I practiced earlier, climbing into from the bottom. And now I know that getting in this final position was pretty hard. So I know I need to commit to it and hold it. Yeah, oh, that's pretty hard, but I'm glad I tried this out earlier because I would have not been able to hold it.